no matter how bad you might feel about your work, someone else is watching your consistency and they're going to invest in you for that reason. Confidence is a distraction. Consistency is the goal. I may appear confident at something, but the reality is I've just done it enough times to believe it's worth continuing. The repetition is redundant, but the reward is in the result. So today we're talking about why confidence is overrated and why consistency is the actual game changer, and also how to keep showing up when doubt creeps in. If you've ever felt stuck because you didn't feel good enough, then this episode is for you. Let's figure this out together on The Glo Show. Y'all, welcome back to season 3. How to Glow in the Dark. This episode is titled Consistency is Louder Than Confidence, because that is, if there was one message that I wish I could just inject via IV, I don't know. I got violent quick. If I could just replace a single belief in clients and friends and people that have come to me sharing their doubts and concerns about their goals and ideas, it would be this: that your consistency will do more for your future than confidence. And if you could just get consistent at a single thing, you would be amazed at where it could take you. So, in the last episode, we talked about why you don't need other people's approval to shine. And today, now it's going to be about how to shine without feeling confident in what you're doing or where you're going. Because I believe if you're a listener of this podcast, you probably have ambitions, you probably have goals, you have ideas, you have dreams. There are things that you know you want for yourself, but you've kind of allowed yourself to say you don't, I don't know, deserve it, or you don't believe that it's possible, or there's all these stories that we tell ourselves about why we don't have what we want. And until we replace those belief systems and until we replace those stories, that will be the same dialogue that we listen to every day, and that keeps us stuck. So when I think about one of my stories of not having confidence, but being consistent, I was 16, 17, 18. Lord, I went to high school in Arizona. So I was living in Arizona at the time, and I was still discovering passions and hobbies. So I played sports. I played basketball, softball, tennis, and golf, all varsity, all high school. And I still wanted a creative outlet because while I enjoyed athletics as like a distraction, and fun fact, ADHD, we love competition. So I didn't know at a young age that my adrenaline and my dopamine hit from all the competition was really good for my ADHD. But I knew that I wanted some type of creative outlet. So I actually was contracted by a hospital or a company that worked with several hospitals to photograph newborns. And at the time, my photography clients were mostly just people, singular portraits. I did the occasional engagement shoot or couples session, but it was mostly just for individuals, not for websites or any big branding thing. It was just they wanted updated headshots, maybe for their Facebook profile picture. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, how do I go from photographing teenagers and people my age to photographing literal newborns? Like, they were born either that morning or the day before. So, like, I was one of, like, the first sometimes I was, like, touching a newborn before the daddy got there. It was an interesting situation. Anyways, I the very first time I have to photograph a newborn, so when we're in training, we have to learn how to position the newborns in different uh s- places. And we always referred to the newborn as baby. So they would say, okay, take baby, place baby like this. And you would position the mom's hand under the baby's cheek and then the dad's hand. When I look back, I think of it as those, the memes of the awkward family portraits. This was absolutely that. Completely awkward, forced forced poses, but it was company guidelines and I was just doing what I was trained to do. So I didn't get to inject my own personal ideas. It was like, nope, I'm here, I'm trained to do this single thing. And it was such an interesting job because we were paid hourly. I think it was maybe $12 an hour. And then we got commission on the photo packages that we sold. So that was like where the actual money was. I think it was 40 to 50. Yeah, something like it was again, teenager glow, it was a lot of money to me. Probably like $50 that you got for every photo package that you sold. So, of course, I'm there to do a job, but I'm really there to sell the package. Like, if I can take such a great job, if I do such a great job on these photos, the package will sell itself. So, I wasn't confident in knowing that, like, okay, the baby is still asleep, and okay, the mom, she looks grumpy. Okay, she's angry at the dad looks tired, like, awkward. And so I would then figure out ways to angle the photos so that we're highlighting what was good about the photo or what was good about the setting. So sometimes I would tell the mom, like, "Oh, go ahead and, like, look down and look to the left," and maybe she had really pretty lashes, so we would get, some of her lashes in there. And then I'd tell dad to, "You can palm the baby," and, like, because he had strong hands. And I think the most gratifying part, I would come back maybe 2 hours later after I went to my little office area in the hospital, and I would develop the photos, but I would also choose the best ones to show for the slideshow. So I'd come back, maybe they had ate or fed baby, and I'd come back to, like, share the slideshow, and this was my moment. And when I tell you, I'm laughing because they could feel when I knew, like, they're gonna love this. It was in my energy. And sometimes when you feel like I dedicated, maybe you spent 4 hours on a single family and you might only make, oh, sorry, so I said it was $12 hourly, it's $12 per session. So think about that. Oh my gosh. Times have changed, y'all. I can't believe it. Why did I want the position? I think I just needed experience. I think I was just so hungry for experience that I was willing to take anything. So it was like $12 for like every family that you photographed. So you were either doing making 12 or 50. And so if I knew that the parents were tired and baby was passed out the whole time, it just I would come in there and kind of like rush the slideshow because I didn't want to waste their time. And I also felt like disappointed in the work. And so I felt like ashamed and embarrassed. And it took this one time for me to recognize you never know how much you might be projecting a certain emotion and you never know what the other person is actually feeling. And I was photographing at the hospitals and I was on rotation. So we had contracts with maybe 5 hospitals in that county. So I was just on a rotation Monday through Wednesday. I'm at this hospital. And the other days I'm at different hospitals. But, anyways, staff starts to learn who I am and they're like trying to get me work, like, oh, they delivered, they're ready, room number 2. And so it was a whole thing. So at some point, I don't know how long it took me, but I had photographed over 100 newborns and I didn't even recognize what that repetition was doing for me. And when I didn't feel confident in presenting the slideshow, my consistency was enough. I'm going to say that again. When you do something so often, people will see that, oh, you don't even have to like your work because we can be our own harshest critics, but people can see, like, oh, I could never photograph that. And there was one time I just came in, I wasn't really proud of the work, but because my standard kept raising, every time I photographed a new family, I was like trying to teach myself a new skill, try a new angle. And we used external lighting. So sometimes I would play around with where I was pointing the flash. And there was a lot of learning on the fly that I did. And there was a family that they purchased like a $500 package, and I could have cried because that was so much money to me. And it still is. Let me contextualize. It still is. But it was the first time I sold a package that high, and it was on a session that I didn't feel very confident in, but my consistency carried me. Come on, somebody, okay? And I share that story because I want to remind you, no matter how bad you might feel about your work, someone else is watching your consistency and they're going to invest in you for that reason. You might think that you got years to go, but someone else has already seen the years that you've put in and they're basing their investment on that. So always keep that in mind. So, tip number 1, courage is a greater starting point than confidence. If you have the courage to start, if you have the courage to pursue, if you have the courage to decide, ooh, I think I think I might have a shot at this. I might not know exactly where this will take me. I might not be completely confident in my abilities yet, but I'm going to go ahead and start. Because Brendan Burchard would always say people aren't afraid to start, they're afraid to start and be seen starting small. Like, we don't want people to see us in our humble beginnings. We want them to only celebrate us at the very end when we've got everything together. So that was really powerful. Tip number 2 is the more you show up for yourself and for the skill, the less fear controls your narrative. If you allow fear to be something that dictates the effort you put in, the energy you exude, the joy that you have around that thing, my goodness, it would be a shame. And we talked about fear in episode 2, how to move with fear. If you haven't listened to that, please go back and check it out. Because fear is a part of the journey, but it doesn't have to control or drive the car. And I just got really, I just got really good at lowering the volume on the voice of my fear. Like, yes, you might be yapping, but if the volume is at point one, I can barely hear you. So, yeah, just start to tune out fear and just keep showing up despite what you think about yourself, despite what fear is telling you. And tip number 3, this one's the important one. People will remember consistency more than they'll remember talent. Bloop. Where's do I have sound effects here? That was weak. Okay. People remember consistency more than they remember talent. So if you are uber talented and you post on Instagram once a year, you are forgettable. I'm sorry. People have already moved on to the next person that's posting. If you are average, which, my goodness, that's a majority of our feeds, let's be honest. There's a lot of average, loud people. But if you are average and you're showing up, people will take notice. People will stop because eventually they'll be like, all right, this person's been yapping on my feed. Like, I might as well tune in. And people will appreciate that even in your mediocrity, you are still consistent, even in your ability to keep going. Like, without knowing the direction, people can appreciate that because they see themselves in that and they admire it and respect it. So, understand that confidence is the result of showing up, but it's not a requirement to show up. Confidence happens after. Confidence and clarity is a result and a consequence of showing up before you feel ready, of putting yourself out there before you know the whole plan, of climbing the mountain without seeing the top yet. And I think it's also important to remember that you summit one mountain, you're going to be climbing the next one. So at some point, you have to learn to enjoy the journey. Because if you're always dreading taking the next step, because it'll grow you, it also humble you. But if you're always dreading it, like, what's the point? Like, go ahead and do the safe and easy thing. Let someone else tell you what to do. Let someone else tell you how much you can earn. Let someone else tell you when you can vacation. That's okay. Like, if you like predictability, you can do that. But if you know you were made for more, if you desire different, and you're a little stubborn, like, you deserve to pursue whatever it is that you desire. Okay? To your assignment. I want you to pick one thing you don't feel confident in and then open up your calendar app and literally schedule it into like your daily routine. I am run by my calendar, but I love having an empty calendar. Right now I'm in a season where my calendar is so empty, it's weird. I wake up and I'm like, what do I do with myself? It's a blessing. And it's a funny thing they say about ADHD people. Like, we crave free time and then we get the free time and then we rot it away and we just are overwhelmed by the freedom. So, so I'm somewhere in the happy medium where I create structure within my free time so that I'm allocating my time and energy accordingly. And yeah, it's been really helpful. So let's say you're learning a new language, which I am right now. I schedule that in to my calendar 3 times a week. It should be 5 times a week because I need to be studying on the days that I don't have lessons with my tutor. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I know that no matter what, I am having lessons at noon. That helps me know that my workout must get done before noon. My uh just my schedule, like I need to be up and moving and active and finished with some form of work before noon because it takes such a different part of my brain to go into reading, writing, and speaking in another language that I need to leave room for. I need to create margin. I can't just switch tasks like that. So that helps me allocate a certain amount of time and energy and effort into the language process, the language learning process. Okay? Um yeah, and there's a quote that says show me your calendar and I'll show you your focus. And that goes back to my point. Like, if it's not on your calendar, it's not happening. If it's not on your calendar, it's not actually a real goal or plan. Like, you're probably not serious about it. So allow yourself to say, you know what, my calendar is going to be a representation of what I actually prioritize in life. If I say I want to work out, if I say I want to get out more, if I say that I want to create content, where is that blocked and where is that shown on my calendar? Okay. Nigerian proverb. All right, so this one is little by little that a bird builds its nest. Mm, little by little, a bird will build its nest. And this one I wasn't told. This one I looked up because some of the proverbs I share will be um, ones that I research, but just know there's a wealth of Nigerian proverbs that um, have been told to me throughout my childhood. But I love this one because you want the bird's nest, but you're not willing to take the small twigs, little by little, step by step, you know, one thing at a time to like create the nest. And that consistency of taking all those twigs and stitching them together is what gets the nest. So if you're not willing to be consistent and you're trying to be out here looking for a fully built nest, it ain't gonna work like that. Okay. Okay. Scripture. Proverbs 16:3. This is from the NIV version. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. This is a scripture I've heard hundreds of times, probably since I was a kid. And I love this because it's just a reminder. Listen, whatever your goals are, bring it to God and just ask, like, God, I really want to do this. Show me signs, give me guidance, lead me in the direction where you think I'm best meant to be led. You don't have to always come to God with like these pleas of desperation. Sometimes it's a literal conversation of, God, I have this feeling that like I should be writing this book. I have this message on my heart. It feels scary because I've never written a book before. I I'm not sure that my book would sell, but let me know. Show me if like this book is meant to be written by me. Show me signs and humble me. Allow me to be humbled by the process and just surrender. Surrender your plans and commit them to to God's plan because his will always work out better than yours, and continue to be in just conversation with God because I promise you he's rooting for you. He wants you to win. And you seek ye first kingdom of God, all other things will be added unto you. And it's just important to remember like you're on the same side. God is on the same side as you. Okay, affirmation is I don't have to feel ready to show up. I just have to start. I don't have to feel ready to show up. I just have to start. I like that. I like that a lot. If you're watching the video version, you're seeing the sun is literally setting before our eyes. And I'm doing my best to keep the lighting consistent, but it is what it is. So thank you for your patience. All right, our Q&A is by Ethan Stos. Shout out to you. He asks, "What's your recommendation for getting past fear and learning what I want to do in life?" Hmm, getting past fear. So, first recommendation is re-listening to episode 2 if you haven't already, because that episode I think really covered a lot of aspects of how I approach fear. But hmm, learning what I want to do in life, trying and experimenting with everything. I treat new pursuits as projects. When you think of something as a project, it's kind of like, well, in school, you're like, okay, the worst that can happen is I get a failing grade. But a project as an adult in the real world, the worst that you can happen is you lose interest, or it doesn't work, or it's not fun. Like, there is no worst case scenario in starting a project as an adult, especially if it's something that doesn't require any monetary capital. But if you are wanting to start a product, that's a little different because now there's probably upfront costs and expenses, and you have to validate the market. You have to find your target audience. You have to get down your messaging. There's all these other things that come into play, and it feels like a lot of pressure. So even if I know that I'm doing something that I want to eventually turn into a product, I'm going to approach it as a project so that I have less pressure on my shoulders and I can be a little bit more relaxed about the process. And I experiment with a bunch of stuff. Growing up, blogging, travel writing, speaking, photography, videography, social media management, celebrity ghostwriting, travel hosting, retreats, commercial photography, billboards, video hosting. I just did if it sounded interesting, I was like, let's see. My curiosity was always greater than my conviction to talk myself out of something. If I was curious about how something would feel or turn out or what it could become, I just pursued it. And I guess fear does keep you safe. So, again, the fear of judgment and the fear of criticism could be your intuition just saying, hey, this is new territory. Just letting you know, we've never been here. I don't know what happens beyond this point. I can't keep you safe. I don't know what's on the other side, and good luck. Like fear is actually our friend. And if you frame it that way, you'll you won't resent the fact that your heart is racing and the fact that you have a lot of uncertainty. And I would say the last thing is so, okay, I'm going to read the question one more time because I want to kind of reframe the first part. So, you said, what's your recommendation for getting past fear? You don't get past fear, you bring it with you. So, I want to make that part very clear. I'm still not past my fear. I just have a better and healthier relationship with it. I have learned to humble myself and allow fear to take the microphone and say what it needs to say. I consider it. And then I know that not to be true, so I go ahead and, like, turn the volume down, and I go for it anyway. So, it's not that I've gotten past my fear, I've just learned to live with it and deal with it and honor it. So, that's something to consider. And learning what you want to do in life. The experimentation of as many things as possible is such a fun season. When I think about my 20s, if I had to label it as one word, chaotic comes up, yes, but fun is probably fun is a close second because I feel like I might not have had direction, I might not have known what I wanted, but I had so much fun discovering myself, my passions, pursuing as many things as possible. I must have applied for every like there was a period in 2016, I think 2014 to 2016, there were a lot of companies that were starting to like get hip to social media, and a lot of them were advertising best job in the world positions. Basically saying like if you are great on camera, if you're extroverted and outgoing, like we want to hire you to be the face and the voice of our company. And I probably applied to dozens of them, and I actually got one. I actually got one. And that one company ended up funding, and I mean, I probably saw over 40 countries on their dime. Like part of the job was traveling to all these destinations. So they took me to 40, over 40 countries around the world. And I'm just like, yo, that's crazy because I'm at 100 now. So I got so much confidence in getting to explore in places I'm like, well, I wouldn't probably take myself to this country, but the fact that I'm being paid to be here, might as well have some fun, might as well see what's up. And I had to write blog posts for the company, so I had to also seek out my own adventure and figure out what's the most interesting thing that I can write about this place and yeah, create some type of marketing virality from it. So I mean, I was 24. I was 20, 24, 25. Like there was no there was no social media the way you know and see it today. So it's just amazing to have that level of foresight and insight into an industry that would turn into a multi-billion dollar uh, space. So really interesting. Okay. I think that's all that I have. This dimming light is actually really interesting on video, and I'm like, I could turn on the light right now. I could just rock and let this fly. But I hope y'all are appreciating the process and seeing the behind the scenes of all of this. Sorry, so I have my iPad. I'll go ahead and show you y'all what that looks like. So you can how meta is this? So my iPad is connected to an app called Imaging Edge Mobile, which connects to my Sony A7R III. And that allows me to see that, okay, I'm recording, I'm in frame, things are looking okay. And that keeps everything kosher. Okay. Now I'm just like playing with the lighting. Now this is an interesting, okay, this isn't bad. I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad. It's different. Okay, I'm not mad at this. Oh, this is kind of cute. Oh, this is kind of cute. There will be minimum 20 shades of lighting by the end of this video, but I appreciate your patience as I figure it out. One thing that I've had to do is time my filming around 12 o'clock. High noon is a great time to film. 12, 1 to 12, pretty much until 4 o'clock. It just depends. So I'm still kind of working with the lighting here. But yeah, I am having so much fun. I'm so grateful that you all are tuning in. I know that what you are probably used to with other podcasts might be different than what you're experiencing here. And my hope is that you're open to going on this journey with me as I continue to evolve it and figure out how exactly it's meant to be. I'm testing out different formats episode to episode, but so far I feel in a really good flow. And yeah, I'm just grateful for your patience. So be sure to screenshot and tag to your stories if, I don't know, if there's a download, a lesson, or something that you really enjoyed from this episode. And then tag me, GLO Graphics, Glo Graphics, and I will repost as many as I can and rate and review wherever you're listening. And I will see y'all on the next episode. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. What?